brokenness that was triggered by this game, or this environment, that going back 30 years. And so it's like, wow. And so hopefully I'm saying, what I'm describing here is that whatever is most personal is most universal, unless I sound like a complete moron right now, but I think most of us might experience that to different degrees in our own lives. Denounce the sin, addiction, or destructive compulsion for its ruinous effect in your life. And then decide for Christ to heal this wound. We have to take Christ and we have to walk back in our memory and find where is the fracture, where is the wound, where is that brokenness, and have Christ heal it. Diffuse the stress, the anxiety, and fear feeding it, and transform its damaging effects on your life into a sacred story. And then we use it as a time of blessing the Lord, you see. When you are struggling with these issues, the guidelines for foundational healing, spiritual growth may be very helpful. Now, one more thing before we go is well, we'll do the bottom 232. When you find yourself aware of a particular sin, we say narcissism or pride, reacting with anger, anxiety, fear, or control, or grief, determine if you are mostly an aggressive or passive narcissist. Pay attention to these sudden angers, anxieties, fears, or grief that creep up during your day. Pay particular attention to how they might be touching your narcissism, manifest sinfulness, and contributing to addictive tendencies. For those events that seem to jump out at you and capture your attention, do this short exercise below. What I'm going to do is read to you these aspects of what he calls a passive narcissist, you see that on 233, or an aggressive narcissist. Now, it's not the same thing as like passive-aggressive tendencies. He's just saying some of us are prideful in an aggressive way, and some of us are prideful in a passive way. And here's what he means by that. So, and this could be any of us, but there's going to be a tendency. So we can see ourselves in both of these, but there's one that's going to draw us to, and it says, oh, and it's kind of brutal the way he describes it, but I think it's very helpful because we recognize that's me, and I need to change. I've been doing this for years. And then I have to recognize, wow, okay, here's my problems. And it summarizes it on the bottom of 233. This is the passive narcissist, and if you look on 233, we see these two columns, and the summary is on one side on the left, and on the right is the aggressive narcissist. So I'm going to read the passive narcissist, the whole thing. This type of narcissism, or pride, rehearses and repeats the anger, fear, anxiety, and grief of old wounds and hurts. They're attacking me again. They're starting over my brothers. They're doing this over again. I notice. Look at that. The passive narcissist complains, is grasping, is cynical, and makes excuses for everything except his or her own behavior. It's their fault. The passive narcissist draws attention to him or herself in every thought, word, and deed, and says he is the center of attention in these ways. See how I suffered? See how I've been victimized? See how unfairly I am treated? See why I behave the way I do? See why I'm justified in the way that I behave? The passive narcissist works hard to blame others for her or his wounds. The passive narcissist labors mightily in every thought, word, and deed to make sure others know of their suffering. The passive narcissist takes pride and finds both power and comfort in her or his victim status, whether it's real or merely perceived. The passive narcissist works very hard to maintain his or her victim status and remain powerless, refusing to take responsibility for changing his or her situation. Because changing the situation means confronting pain and offering forgiveness for those who have helped you evolve this way. Changing also means losing your core identity in being a powerless victim. To lose this identity is to lose power and control. Why? There are three main reasons. First, losing your victim status means literally losing power and control of your world and the other people and things in your world. Second, the passive narcissist is disconnected from his or her authentic self. Losing the status of being a victim initiates an acute and fearful identity crisis. As a victim, your meaning and success have been intimately linked with being a powerless victim. Third, in losing power and control of the identity of your anti-story, not sacred story, but anti-story status sustains, you will encounter the spiritual, psychological, and emotional wounds hiding behind your passive narcissism. Pay attention to sudden angers, anxieties, fears, or grief that creep up during your day. Pay particular attention to how they might be touching your core narcissistic wounds or original sin. For these events that seem to jump out at you, capturing your attention, do this exercise, which is right here in 232 and 233. The aggressive narcissist. The aggressive narcissist rehearses and repeats the anger. All these things are based on anger, fear, anxiety, grief of these old wounds and hurts. The wounded, prideful aggressor gets even, is grasping and determined to best others because I'm the aggressive narcissist. The aggressive narcissist justifies and excuses his or her behavior in the process. The aggressive narcissist draws attention to herself or himself in every thought and word and deed and says things like, I'm the center of attention. In these ways, see how special and gifted I am? See that you never get in my way. See you never overpower me. See, I deserve what I have because I earned it. See, no one will ever hurt me again. The aggressive narcissist works hard never to let anyone best him or her. The aggressive narcissist labors mightily in every thought, word, and deed to make sure others get the message of his or her superiority. The aggressive narcissist takes pride and finds tremendous energy in his or her triumphs over others, real or perceived. The aggressive narcissist works very hard to maintain his or her winner status. For his or her anti-story, not sacred story, but the anti-story is now totally associated with always being the winner. To lose winner status is to lose power and control. Why? There are three main reasons. First, losing winner status means losing the power and control of your world and the other people and things in that world. Second, because an aggressive narcissist, you are disconnected from your sacred story. Losing the status of winner initiates an acute and fearful identity crisis. What do I do if I can't win? The crisis results because your meaning and success have been intimately linked with your anti-story of being the winner. You kind of see this in college students all the time. Those who are like high achievers and things like that, everything about their identity is based on their grades. If I can't get an A, what happens? Oh, I can't get into medical school now.